Welcome back to the Stuff or Whatever podcast show. It's BQuanchi here. Before we get started, I always like to say the best way to support me in the channel is to like, comment, and subscribe. I do on YouTube, follow on Twitter and Twitch because I do game streams, which those game streams get uploaded back here on the YouTube channel as VODs, and working on the videos as well. I'm kind of glad my recent Smash Bros. Tier list is getting a little bit more traction than my typical upload. So even though kind of a small I try to force the word content creator, but I guess that's what it is. Also, there might be some construction noises. It's just been one of those weeks. Like they've been doing stuff around the apartment, like redoing railings and all that. That's gonna like dox myself in some way. Not that it matters, that no one's really listening. But yeah, just been kind of lazy. And although next week I'm probably not going to record a podcast, and maybe miss a stream or two. Yeah, not that anyone's too watching or anything like that, but I don't know. I've been kind of thinking some things I want to talk about in a podcast, but I might even take a break because I did take a little hiatus and all that. And it's kind of weird, like it was just me and a microphone and all that, trying to think of things to say. But some things I have for this week I thought worth mentioning. And one thing I was thinking about updating the channel a little bit is doing some more gameplay videos, because in the past what I do is like record just gameplay with just a game and kind of either like showcase a game or like speed run a game, even though that implies that I have skills. But because a lot of times I'll use like game cheats like infinite health or something like that for some of them, but they're up on the channel. But what I was thinking about doing is just doing kind of more of a let's play style, because I do two uploads like that. Like I did one for a little small indie game called Beast of Burdens, which is like a Pokemon. I want to say like a parody, but it's kind of like a twist, where it's kind of like like the indie horror games that are kind of like, small and all that. But I also did that for the last level for Savage Halloween, because I didn't want to stretch the stream out too much longer. It would have been too short for one stream by itself. But I'm thinking about maybe doing that a little bit more often for like games that are going to be not worth a whole stream, or even like older classic retro games that might be good, like 20 to 30 minutes and all that. Because what I was also thinking is doing that for demos of indie games and showcase that, because I did do a few streams. You can see them up on the channel, but I did like a few indie games, usually like 3 per stream and all that. And I think if I did like that same style, but just did it as its own upload versus streaming it or broadcasting it, that might work. I'm probably going to be doing that like next month and see how that flies. That way it can be focused on each upload, can be focused on the game, one game at a time versus 3 in one upload. Maybe make it more digestible for like viewers, like, oh, I'm going to check out this game or all that. Because I always find like indie games enjoyable. Like, I think part of it because they're not like $60 a pop, so they're usually a bit more cheaper in terms of the price. But and even like the little retro throwback graphics I like as well. So I feel like, okay, I'm not getting like the high God of War game or whatever, but it's a fun experience. And sometimes they're a little bit on the shorter side, but I've been kind of debating like which ones I should stream. Maybe just do like the let's play style. I'm gonna end up the channel to say, okay, this is with commentary, this is without, and all that. I think it works just as a BQuanchi gameplays and stuff like that, kind of like create gameplays or anything like that. So I'll see if that helps. That way I can kind of like play different games and check them out, and kind of like, I don't know. I always thought it'd be cool to be kind of like a platform for indie games, but I just don't think I would have that notoriety. But you never know what sticks and what doesn't. So I think that's going to be an experiment besides the usual streams. And I mentioned before I might stream a little bit less just to see what works. So I'll probably wait to the beginning of next year to like say, maybe I just do 2 streams versus 3 streams a week, just because I have 3 days off. I work full time and all that. So usually like Thursday, Friday, Saturday is my stream days. And it's like when I think like, hey, if I want to play these games, might as well stream it. But sometimes it's nice not to worry about too much about like setting up a stream and audio levels with the game and the microphone and all that. And sometimes it's a little cathartic too. Like sometimes, like I played it twice now already. I did a quick speed run as well of Brock's Investigator. It's been one of my favorite games this year. But I think it's been kind of interesting just to have like my experience playing that game for the first time on stream. Even though there's not really much to an audience or anything like that. But I think it's just like a different energy. Like when you know that there's a microphone on you and know that people maybe tune in to check out what you're doing and all that, because sometimes it makes the frustrations a little bit more like because I've been doing Sonic Adventure 2, which I should be finishing that up, and it seems like getting more frustrated at it and all that, and I just play by myself. I don't know, I feel like I have different energy, but I view it in different ways. But there's some things I've been thinking about doing on the channel and all that. And one thing I wanted to mention, this is something that kind of weird and maybe it'll be helpful to talk about, but I got this weird like YouTube copyright strike notification, but it was just really weird how I got it, because I looked at my phone and it's like, oh, YouTube shared a file with you, and oh, okay, and then it looks just like the emails, because I got like copyright stuff before in the past, like usually like it's a little bit of music, sometimes it's like bullshit stuff, but usually it's like a warning, and usually it's more like, so like, hey, they're gonna share monetization, or they're gonna turn it off, or completely claim it, or stuff like that. So it's like some of those, at least in my experience, it's not like gonna hurt me in terms of a strike or anything like that. It's just like, hey, it's gonna affect monetization, even though I barely make anything. I barely have enough to be enrolled as a YouTube partner and all that. But I get this notification about a YouTube. It's like a file that they share with me through Google Drive, and that was really weird. And I saw like, oh, your latest Sonic Adventure stream is like violation of a copyright strike, because use that language and said that I would get a strike on the channel as I investigate that. And then there's like a little link to like, hey, check out the report here. But it was just so weird that it was a Google Drive file that was shared with me. But I checked my email, saw nothing, because usually I get the email, and this was like 2 days after I uploaded the VOD, and usually like once it's done processing the upload, they're pretty good at like, hey, this has been claimed and stuff like that, because I had that bullshit with that with like DuckTales, the moon level music, even like when I was had the game paused for a little bit in Cuphead and tried to claim that. Some annoying stuff, but some I even like repealed and it went away. So not to say that I know much about the YouTube copyright system, but like going back to it, like, okay, it's weird. I didn't get email about it in YouTube Studio. There's no notifications, so I was wondering, is it delayed or anything? But I didn't see any notification. Like everything was green, looking good. And then I also realized, like, I had it because I saw like the notification thing, but I was trying to pull up the file again in my Google Drive. Like, I can't find this anywhere. Like, what the hell would it go? Did it like disappear? Am I imagining things? And then I realized, oh, I have 2 Gmail accounts connected to my device. And I flipped to the other one, and like, oh, there it is. And it's kind of weird because like the link, I realized like in this email. Once you like download a file and stuff like that, and then I also noticed when you like go over to the owner, it's like some other Gmail account. So this is like obviously not YouTube that's doing this. Like even like tweeted it out, just like, hey, kind of just like watch out for this kind of thing. They reply like, oh, you'll get emails and YouTube Studio and stuff like that. So like, okay, this obviously isn't valid. I even reported it in Google Drive. The other thing that made it suspicious, besides not seeing anything in YouTube Studio, not seeing anything in emails, is that the file that it shared with me was to my Gmail that's not actually connected to my YouTube account. Because that's what threw me off too, because usually I have my like main one, which my own personal email. But I do list on the YouTube channel in the About section a different email. I believe it's BQuanchi channel at gmail.com. I don't use that too much. I don't get much chat, like anything in my inbox or anything, but it's like, hey, if anyone wants to like collab or contact me for any reason, like, I don't know, for any opportunities in that. So that's why I have that. And it's nice to have like an extra like throwaway email, or just like, hey, if I want this to focus on what I'm doing with the YouTube, Twitter, whatever, like have this own email dedicated to that. It's like, oh, someone must have like went to my YouTube channel and then used the email that I have public on that. So that's why it was so like, why, what happened with this file? Like, why did it like disappear? Because they didn't, because YouTube would always use my main personal email because that's what I have linked. So if I ever get like a stupid copyright thing, it would go straight to my personal email. And I see that because I don't check the other email very often because right now I don't have much reason to. So yeah, I thought that was just really weird. I reported it. And just like disappeared. I think I get like an automatic email from Google like, thanks for reporting this, because it's like I report it as impersonation because if it's because it used like the same template, so it really looks like an email from YouTube, but for some reason it was saved as a PDF and shared with me. And yeah, so just in case anyone comes across that or think that's weird, like YouTube is never gonna rely on Google Drive to contact you regarding copyright issues or strikes or anything like that. Because I think the thing is, like, if you hear copyright strike, it gets kind of like scary. Like, oh my god, this is gonna put a bad mark on my channel or anything like that, or cause my channel to get terminated or anything like that. So I think that's why it's kind of like scary. And I think obviously they could like look at one of my recent uploads and like copy and paste the title so it looks a little bit more legit, but usually they use like a Gmail. Like sometimes people can like spoof like websites and email names that look almost like the real deal, but it was like something at gmail.com. It's like, oh, they're not really, I guess they weren't expecting someone to hover over the file owner's name. And I don't know if like the download would like give a virus or like have a form like, hey, like send us this information kind of say, like, I don't know if it's trying to fish for information or anything like that, but it seemed like a big like scam that's kind of plays on people being afraid of the copyright strike system. And also, I'm not sure if anyone knows how to do this, but I wish there was a way in Google Drive to like maybe private yourself, or so no one sends you files through Google Drive. I looked around and it just didn't seem obvious, but I think like, hey, I would rather have no one sharing files, even though like on Google Drive it's not going to be like a big deal unless you like download something, but it's like something that should be in place. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of weird and all that, but that was worth mentioning. But I kind of wonder how copyright's going to change with YouTube over time, because I know they're allowing like copyright music for content creators and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if we're going to see less of it or more people trying to abuse it, because that's what, like I said, I had some bullshit copyright claims in the past, and claims, again, not really damaging to the channel besides monetization, but it's like companies would just like somehow claim certain songs and abuse the system. I think they even try that just so they can like farm money, but they don't really monitor that. So if you like appeal, it just like drops in 30 days. But I wouldn't say I'm the best source of that. So basically, watch out for like weird. Again, I don't know. I think a lot of people might use Google Drive. I think it's like a convenient cloud for like people who don't have iPhones or anything like that. But I kind of use it a little bit for like backup thumbnails or anything like that. Not too much, but just like FYI, good to know. Be on the lookout kind of stuff. So now I want to talk a little bit more about Twitter. It feels like a weekly thing, but some stuff going on, and not that I'm like the big like on the pulse when it comes to like Twitter news or anything like that. Like some things I forgot to mention, like the weird stuff when like not really like weird, just kind of like stuff when Elon took over. Like I guess a lot of Twitter employees got fired, and then there was like he was trying to hire them back. Like some got fired by mistake, or they realized, hey, we really need these people to do certain functions or things on Twitter that Elon's needing or what they are looking to do. So I don't know, just like a really ugly, messy back and forth. Like I think dumpster fire is like the best way to keep on describing that. I don't know, if I was an ex Twitter employee that was asked to be hired back, I would probably like decline and look somewhere else. I feel like the job wouldn't be secured if I can be fired at any time. Because speaking of that, there was also some recent news that other employees got fired because like I don't know what they use like for the messaging. I don't know if it was like emails or company chat rooms. I worked with companies before, and they have like Microsoft Teams or this one called Slack, and I think there's other ones too, but I forget. But they like use these like business like chat rooms in a sense. I could have like different rooms for like certain teams or departments and stuff like that. I guess like employees who said I guess, more critical things. I'm not sure how detailed it was about Elon Musk, and then they get fired because Elon Musk loves his freedom of speech. So that was kind of messy too. And there was a whole deal with like Twitter Blue because that's been like an ongoing messy thing. It's like the big deal at first with people trying to impersonate, like it's more like parody, like impersonate Donald Trump or other like famous celebrities or people and stuff like that. So people like, oh, who knew that paid verification would backfire because everyone's trying to like impersonate or parody or just just of like trolling. I don't think, besides being like a shit stir or anything like that, I don't think it was like as malicious. But I like Twitter has like I guess like impersonation things or something like that in its policy. So it's like, maybe stray away from that. Or if you do throw away account. That's I mentioned that like last week too. It's like if you got to set apart, especially if memeing, dunking on Elon Musk, maybe do a throwaway account and maybe use your main D kind of like we tweet it or quote tweet it just to be like, hey, that's me, but not really. But just in case any consequences, I'm not the one who tweeted that. But I guess for a little bit, Twitter Blue was off, and like they closed it, but now it's back on from notice. So I saw like a joke like people can get the $8 back, but because we've seen the article like he said it would be back probably soon, and I guess sooner than I thought because I thought it was going to be a week. Like, oh, it's back again, and we'll see. And one thing I didn't realize with Twitter Blue is that you have to have iOS to use it. Because, like, maybe I'd be kind of curious to check it out just to see it. And there's some decent stuff about it. Like, I mentioned before, like, you see less ads. Even that might be a turnoff for advertisers on Twitter. But also, you can post longer videos and all that. But, yeah, it's only for iOS. So if you're Android or Windows user, you can't. I think besides iPhone, I think MacBooks or whatever Mac computers you can still use it. Cause I think that's all iOS, but I feel it's kind of weird that it's all like iOS focus and that like really limits the chance of people, customers or whatever you want to call it, like subscribers. So it's like weird to see Elon Musk like push it so much when it's like probably a majority of people can't subscribe to it or pay for it. Because even though like people are big on Apple and iPhones and stuff, I'm pretty sure like that's only like a fraction of Twitter use and stuff like that. So it's like, hey, we can't even pay for that. And I even saw like, I didn't even read the article about saying that like Twitter Blue isn't getting much money. Like it's not generating as much money as you would hope for or whatever. So it's like, we'll see how that plays off. So it's been pushing it. And I even saw like an article, I guess, like, even Elon Musk might step back from being so active on Twitter and maybe even getting a CEO in his place and all that. So I'm not sure like how it's being run in terms of like the board of directors or who's doing what. Besides just seeing Elon Musk like tweet so much, I guess his main job. But I think they're going to try to get like a new CEO to kind of take on that position and duties or whatever. I don't even know what the fuck a CEO does, but I guess that's somewhat of a plan for Twitter in the future. And now I also wanted to talk. This is like one of my like things I want to talk about the podcast eventually, just for like random bits that like get in my minds. But I want to talk about like some sitcom cliches and tropes that I think are bad or get annoying or overused. So, but I think the main like sitcom cliche trope, whatever you want to call it, that I am going to like dislike. I want to say like hate is kind of a strong word, but I know it's like sometimes like they have a character that they use as a punching bag for like no reason at all. I think the big example is Meg from Family Guy, even though that's a cartoon, but still the same thing like cartoons, animated, live action. It's all pretty much sitcoms to me, but like how characters would like gang up, whether they like just be mean in terms of like jokes or insults or put downs and stuff like that. I feel like the character doesn't really deserve it. Like maybe with Family Guy, they put sometimes frame in a way that like Meg kind of deserves it. But I think they had some. I think they even did like a good episode where she kind of like speaks out about it and then kind of like accepts it, that it's kind of like a way that the family has to deal. I think it was one with like a storm or something like that. But like she kind of like confronts the family about it, and then at the end she like just kind of takes it back. So I don't know. I think it's like it could be used interesting ways, but sometimes I just feel like just being mean just to be mean. Like I think another one I heard like another podcast talking about it too, but I didn't watch too much of Parks and Recreationals or whatever Parks and Recs. But like the character Jerry, it seems like they're always mean to him, and like he doesn't really deserve it or anything like that. Oh, that's kind of funny. You find out like he has a hot wife and stuff like that too. But it's like one of those things like if like the point of the joke is just to make the joke, um, without much really reason to it, it just feels a little off and stuff like that. Like we don't need a punching bag to get a punch because it just feel like these people have like this really toxic side and all that. So I'm trying to think, maybe like South Park or something like that done it. Like I think it's funny, like they keep calling like some person like don't talk to him, he's an asshole or stuff like that, and then he's like really nice. But that kind of defeats what I was saying too. But like it'd be funny like if he was like actually an asshole and actually deserved it and stuff like that. Or this kind of like twisted the way that because everyone's ganging up on him and using him as a punching bag, then he kind of retaliates or stuff like that, go crazy. I find that happens a lot. Like you don't need to be mean to be funny. Like I feel like sometimes and not that I'm like oh, be nice to everyone and flowers and sunshine, but sometimes I feel like sometimes I don't know if it's like a sitcom or cartoon or whatever. Like sometimes just flat out being mean just to be mean is I don't know. I think it's like lowbrow in a sense, but it's like if you want to make a joke to actually make it funny, like have a point to it and all that. Not that I'm like a comedy writer or anything like that, but it's like one of the sitcom tropes, like, hey, we don't need to like gain up on somebody who doesn't deserve it or all that. I mean, honestly, sitcom cliches, even though I haven't seen this too often, even though I haven't watched too much TV shows or anything like that, but I just like realizing how much the whole like in-laws, like how like maybe the mother-in-law disapproves of the wife and stuff like that, and have like this like bitterness or stuff like that. And I always find that kind of strange. You think if like if your son got married, happily married, because it looks like I think like a big example that even though it's old shows, everyone loves Raymond. How Deborah and Raymond's mom, like it was very like what do you call it, like passive aggressive for the most part, but like oh like you can't cook, and I guess this is a way like being overprotective of saying like you're not good enough for my son or daughter depending on the situation. But I always feel like, hey, if this is the spouse of your child or son or daughter, like accept him as family. I don't see the point of like always being like at odds with them. I think maybe for like movies and TV show it gets overly um, dramatic or whatever you want to call it. Like it gets exaggerated. I'm sure there's stuff like that with people like with families, and especially when it comes to being related by marriage and stuff like that too, have the conflicts. But I think like, hey, this person makes your son happy, or this person makes your wife happy, or hey, they have a great family now with kids, your grandkids and stuff like that. Like, what's the point of being so mean or passive aggressive or toxic? Like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Is that still used? Is it any like I maybe got to watch some more recent TV shows? But I always feel uh, like the father-in-law gets the son-in-law or the mother-in-law with the daughter-in-law. Like I always felt like that was like I don't know, like so tired and all that. Like I don't know, just because it doesn't feel. I guess part of it just doesn't feel as realistic to me. Even I never had like this conflicts with like siblings, and you know their spouses and spouses' parents and stuff like that. So it just doesn't feel as realistic. And I think maybe because it's exaggerated and stuff like that. But like people just being like backhanded compliments and toxic and I don't know, passive aggressive. It just seems like kind of weird, like sitcom tropes that I'm not sure again if it's still used, but I just think that they're kind of tired and annoying. But just kind of like my 2 cents about it. So next thing I wanted to talk about is Mr. Beast, and I don't know, just I'm not sure if I'm gonna sound like an asshole or if anyone else feels this way, but I just can't get into Mr. Beast. Like I just can't watch Mr. Beast. And I know like was recently now he surpassed PewDiePie as the most subscribed channel on YouTube, which is pretty crazy. I think MrBeast might be kind of relatively new in terms of content creation. Like I think maybe his account's been old for a while, like as a viewer and some like small uploads or whatever that. But I felt like it wasn't too long ago when he was really active. Like you see all these headlines and stuff like that. But I just can't get into MrBeast. Like I can't really like watch, and I think I have like petty reasons because of it. And I don't know, because I always see the videos like him handing out money, like giving money. I'm sure he does like a lot of charity too. Like some of the snippets I see is from like Phil DeFranco show or even like food or film theory and all that. But I think like part of the reason that my whole mental block when it comes to me and MrBeast's content is like I always view him as this guy who gives out so much money to like random people, and he's giving money to people, but he's not giving money to me. So it's like I have that bit of like, well, why should I watch this video about you giving money to somebody, but you're not giving money to me? And I guess I can say it's like cool that, you know, he's helping people out. I've seen like snippets before, like when he did his MrBeast burger, like customer was coming through, he was like at the window giving them like hands full of monies and stuff like that. And he did like cool stuff, like some interesting stuff as well. Like he did a video of him like how many days he can go without eating solid food. There was one that got a little bit of flack, but he had like somebody like stay in a room for like each day. They get like what $1,000 or something like that, kind of like a social experiment. And then there was like the Squid Game things too he did as well. But like every time I think of like watching MrBeast content, I'm just thinking like, you give people money, but you're not giving me money. And again, that sounds like even like selfish or kind of maybe a little bit of an asshole and stuff like that. But yeah, just kind of like a mental block. And I think I don't want to be like those contrarians, like, oh, that's mainstream, that's popular, where I don't like it. All that. But I don't like it kind of gets like a shit ton of views. Again, most subscribed channel on YouTube. I just feel like how he does it. Like, how did MrBeast get started? Because it feels like a lot of like his headlines I see, like him giving a shit ton of money away, but just not to me. But if MrBeast is listing, I do have a proposition, is that like for like force me to watch MrBeast, not like force, but say motivate me to watch MrBeast videos, like kind of like that one guy who was not allowed to leave a room, or like if he left a room he would end the challenge or whatever. But like be in a room and like for every MrBeast video I watch, I get $1,000. Like I don't know. Again, it's like if MrBeast gave me like 1,000 or 10,000 or 20,000 or $100,000, then like okay, I'll be your best friend. I'll watch all your videos. But it's just like I don't know if it's just me, if anyone else feels that way. But when it comes to MrBeast, like you give people money, but you're not giving me money, and it's like it's not like he's gonna bust through my door with a sack of money, which I would love that. But again, it's like it feels very petty, but it's just like a mental block. I'm not sure anyone else has that same view as me, but yeah. And then also kind of curious, like going back to the most subscribed channel, because I know that for a while there was like that T series versus PewDiePie things, but whatever happened with T series? Like I never saw that headlines. I just saw like MrBeast surpassed PewDiePie, but again, good for him and all that. He seems like a really stand-up swell guy and all that. But it's like he's not giving me money, so again, I'll be all that great. But again, I'm just some asshole with a microphone and a laptop putting shit out on YouTube that no one watches. So it looks like we know who the real loser is in this situation. But oh well. So I wanted to wrap up this video with bringing back a segment, the Whatever Report, some weird news stories that I wanted to talk about. And it seems kind of dry, but I did want to talk about a few things. And some of it's kind of old or been out there, but I saw this one story about a guy who ate 40 rotisserie chickens in 40 days. I guess his own motivation was it's the right thing to do. And it was in Philadelphia. But then it's like afterwards he feels like traumatized that they talked about. I see like what is this? His website on CBC about the rotisserie chicken man. But he was saying like near the end of it, it was just like almost being disgusted and almost like his body was rejecting the food. And said that maybe it was because of so much sodium in the rotisserie chickens he was eating. But I don't know if it sounds weird, but he said like near the end he would have to like drink chicken, like to the point that he'd have to chew it up so much that was like liquefied in his mouth and drink it. And he said, and it's kind of interesting, but it's like, hey, this seems like a funny, good idea, maybe just for the meme or maybe just for the notoriety about it. But it's like he's probably never gonna do that again. I'm not sure if he's. Yeah, I said he'd probably like never eat a rotisserie chicken again. I love rotisserie chicken. It's pretty good. Like I feel like I'm lazy. Pick one up, good. But this guy just ate a rotisserie chicken for every day for 40 days. 'Cause I thought I saw that like meme on Twitter, like a thing like, "Hey, watch me eat a rotisserie chicken." Like I think he was promoting the 40th one. I think maybe that's what I saw on Twitter. But yeah, eating a lot of chicken. But it seems like he regrets that, or is like, that's just too much rotisserie chicken, and all that. So first, kind of funny story. His next story has to do with HelloFresh, who is a sponsor of this podcast. No, I'm just kidding. I don't get sponsored or anything like that. But I guess HelloFresh is being accused of using coconut milk obtained by monkey labor. So, I guess like there's some allegations that HelloFresh uses coconut milk obtained from Thailand, and I guess there's some issues with like Thailand using monkeys to like pick coconuts and all that. And a lot of those allegations come from PETA, so I take it with the whole grain of salt. Like I remember back in the day, like think, oh, PETA, they like want to do right for animals and all that, but I feel like when you hear like the really ugly stuff from behind the scenes and how um, hypocritical they can be, like it's like, okay, PETA saying that's like, why should I like fucking listen to them? And of course, like HelloFresh condemns and all that, and like they got confirmation from the supplier, because I think there was an issue with Thailand with the canned coconut milk that they use monkeys to pick them. But it seems like, you would have at least technology like to have a more efficient way than relying on monkeys and all that. I don't know, it kind of feels like PETA's trying to go over, get after a big name company, so like action to be done, like instead of like, oh, this canned company, the company in Thailand, like, oh, HelloFresh is the bad guys because they're pretty much just getting coconut milk from a supplier. But yeah, I just thought it was the kind of weird things, and I don't know if it's just me, if anyone else, like really like, I want to say like despise PETA, but I just feel like every time I hear them in the news, like, oh, like why should I fucking listen to this company? Like, I prefer other like animal groups for animal rights and treatment and stuff like that, especially with like ethical care of animals and all that. This is like someone like say that they visited like the Thai food processing and didn't see any monkeys and all that. So I don't know. It feels like PETA's just like there to just like make a tussle so they can be like some of the good guys and stuff like that. I thought it was an interesting headline. This is kind of more of a funny headline, but it has to do with a marathon runner in China, age of 50, and he did a marathon under 3.5 hours while smoking cigarettes the whole time. I think I saw this on Twitter, maybe Facebook, I forget, but this guy was like chain smoking cigarettes throughout the whole marathon and all that. I can't even pronounce the Xin marathon. I'm really bad with it comes to like foreign names, but they runner is nicknamed Uncle Chen, and I said after 1,500 competitors, he finished in 574th. So he beat like half the competition while chain smoking the whole time, which is kind of funny. But it looked like he'd done this before, like in 2018 and 2019 marathons and all that. It seems like he places decent, like with the marathon time and probably the top 50%. So I just thought that funny, this like idea of someone like chain smoking cigarettes while running, because like cigarettes are bad for you and like linked to lung cancer and all that. But I'd just be curious how many cigarettes he actually went through. I didn't see that in the article, but just funny to see like some guys running a marathon while chain smoking cigarettes, because I guess there's no rules against it. I'm sure like nearby runs might be a little annoyed by it, but kind of a funny story. Okay, and then the next story I have, I think this was trending on Twitter as well, but I guess the founder of Oculus made a VR headset that actually kills you if you die in a game. And I don't know why this would be a thing. I think just to prove that it could happen. I guess it was called Nerve Gear. And it said that was inspired by Sword Art Online, that anime, that Japanese manga, um, all that. So I think that's what a lot of people thought of, and I guess that did inspire that. But I guess they have like some devices on it. I forget exactly how it worked, but it has like photo sensors and all that. Um, and like I think they just like explode on your head if you die. And I think it relied on like a certain like kill screen, like a certain like um, and like a frequency or something like that. I forget exactly how it works. I'm like looking through the article and trying to think of how it works. Um, like I had a photo sense that can detect a certain like red flash. Um, but I think what it had to like this three explosive charge module tied to it. And what if like you didn't get a game over? Like what if the game just flashes in color? And the games and thought, oh, you're dead and stuff like that. But we had to reprogram a certain way. But again, why would you like you'd be like essentially killing your customers and all that? So thought that's a great story. Again, it's probably spread the interwebs already, but an Oculus that can kill you, like, what's the point? And last story I have for this whatever report, I guess like Tropicana Orange Juice is making like mimosa spray bottle. It looks really weird because I just see like it's kind of like this is a spray bottle head attached to the Tropicana orange bottle, orange juice bottle. But I don't know, it seems kind of pointless. Like I like my mimosas, but you like just pour orange juice in the champagne and all that. I guess there's even videos, but it seems like just like a novelty that just seems pointless. Because I guess like it has different settings, like spritz and shower and whisper. So I'm not sure if like it blends just right with the champagne to make the perfect mimosa, like to diffuse the OJ in such a unique way. But I think it'd be weird, like people just have like a spray bottle and shooting into the champagne glass and then drinking it. So I don't think it's like a weird thing, but they have like a orange juice spray bottle that's meant to make the perfect mimosa. So that would do it for the podcasts for this week. I'll take a break next week. I'm not sure if I'll jump back into doing another solo podcast. Just want to have stuff to say. I have a few things that may be funny to like make little jokes about, but even though it's even funny, like I'm just like some guy with a microphone. Sometimes I realize I forget to make jokes or be funny, or I'm not sure if this is even interesting, but I'd appreciate it if you like, comment, subscribe, watch my other videos, the VODs and all that, and catch live streams on Twitch as well, all that. But yeah, I'll see you all next time. Y'all take care. And yeah, have a good Thanksgiving, even though I was watching this beforehand. But yeah, until next time.